When recording new instruments and parts of your tracks, do you often make mistakes because you forgot the harmonic structure, meaning the chord progression? I must confess that when I used to record and add new parts to a track I was working on, like a rhythm piano for example, I often stumbled somewhere in the middle because I simply forgot the chord progression of that section of the song. This meant that I became annoyed and irritated because I was mad at myself for making all these mistakes all the time when recording. Well, eventually I developed a cure for this, which I am going to share with you right now. Here it is. Write down the chord progressions for all your parts of your song. If you can, I recommend writing the chords right in your sequencer. For example, by having a chord progression track at the top of your project, and then use the chord names as the name for the parts. The second best option, in my opinion, is using a Notepad function in your DAW and writing down the sections of your song with the corresponding chord progression. And the third alternative is to use a Notepad app on your phone or computer to write a note for each song you work on and include all chord progressions of that song in that note. Here are some things to remember. 1. Make sure to separate each chord progression per section of your track. For example, verse 1, verse 2, chorus 1, chorus 2, etc. 2. Make sure to include the length each chord is played until it changes to a new chord. And 3. I always recommend adding the chord progression as MIDI in a track called Harmony, which you then have at the top of your sequencer as one of your mock-up tracks. Watch the video on the mock-up composing method again if you want to strengthen your knowledge of using the MCM workflow. Alright! Now you have learned about using a chord progression chart for your tracks. It makes it so much easier when you try to record a new track in your project. Your action item for this video is to put this technique to a real test. Go into a project you are working on in your DAW and add your chord progression chart to that song. If your DAW does not have a way of adding a notepad, you should make a note on your phone instead, or adding a chord progression track at the top of your sequencer. When you have set up your chord progression chart for your song, you should then try to add a new part by recording, for example, a piano, and use the chord progression chart as a guide while you record. Then you will realize just how great it is to have a visual reference of your chord progressions. So start writing down all the chords you use. I'm Mike, signing out, and you rock, my friends.